Yeah, we think he's a great receiver, and he's another guy. Both these guys we're about to talk about, we used every exposure we could to get to know him better. Top 60 at the combine, 30 visit here in our facility. Wanted to get a chance to talk to him face to face, learn more about him, and felt really comfortable with these guys, and specifically about Jermaine. The tape jumps out at you. We love the tape. We got to know the person, and we feel really good about the pick.
There's a background with Jermaine and the incident that happened in Tennessee storming. What was the discussion like on that?
Yeah.
And how did that get talked out in the room?
Yeah, it was straight. I mean, it was something that we talked about with him. Just to hear what he had to say about it. And again, we did our research on all these guys that we've talked to, and made sure we're aware of every incident they've been a part of. And there's certainly maturity things that come with some of these guys coming out of these colleges, and that's one of the things he'll continue to grow with.
What about the answers that he gave you during that whole process through vetting, made you comfortable?
We felt good. I mean, we picked him today. We felt good about our interactions with these guys.
McKinnley Jackson, what kind of stood out there, and why did you like him there at that spot?
Yeah, he's a guy we've talked a lot about. He fits a good spot for us. 330-pound nose guard. There's not a lot of those in the draft. He's a guy that we had rated highly, and he was sitting right there for us in the third rounds. Was the right spot to take him, and so that was a guy we felt really good about getting in here.
Well, I think we were thinking you're going to probably get 2 tackles at some point this draft. You get him tonight. How big of a surprise is that, and how does it change it? How does it change it in these last 2 hours? How do you change it?
Yeah, you want to answer, or you want me to go?
Yeah.
Okay.
I changed you.
It changed me in the last 30 minutes, but it was great. No, seriously, you add a big nose that we needed. You added the athletic guy in Jenkins earlier, so we just really added some depth to that room, which we needed, and feel good about both players. They both have different skill sets, but they fit us very well. He's played a little bit of everything, but he is really a 2-down nose is kind of what he is. But he has played across the board, but his home is closer to the ball. Shade, nose, zero nose, those type things.
Dan, how does Burton fit alongside your team?
He'll fit great. I mean, he's explosive. And so that's really our job now is to how do we mix and match those skill sets. But what he brings to the table with regard to the threat he's going to pose to the defense, how they're going to have to respect all 3 of those players and the explosiveness they bring, we'll figure that part out. But he'll take care of the hard part, which is separating from defenders and catching the football.
Can you play inside?
Sure, absolutely.
I think really with both these picks, they've allowed a lot of flexibility in those rooms, receiver room, D-tackle room. Like, we've got a lot of guys that can play football, and even outside of the guys that we talk about as starters necessarily, like now we've got an opportunity to find roles for a lot of different people, and we feel like we've got a lot of talent in both those rooms, which is exciting.
With the explosion of Burton, was it a lot of over-the-top stuff, or is he kind of a catch, break a tackle, and go yak guy?
Both, all the above. It's well-rounded tape, super competitive, plays with a lot of energy. I didn't have any drops on his tape this year. Goes and fights for the ball, shows a lot of different things that he can do outside and inside, finishes plays in the end zone. Really like his competitiveness, his energy, and excited to get him in that receiver room with us. Put out the tape he did. Yeah, I mean we've had a high level of for him since the start of this process. We go through a process, especially with these receivers, where we've got a lot of former quarterbacks and receiver guys that. So there's as many opinions on these guys as possible. I think as any position we've got, and so we extensively watched these guys many times, and came away with a lot of I shouldn't say a lot of love for his game.
Pitcher got a guy that averaged 18 yards a catch, I think, in 4 years in the SEC. How rare is that to find a guy that can do that year after year in that league?
Yeah, I mean he's a legitimate take the top off deep threat, but that to Zach's point, that's not all he does. I mean he's a threat over the middle of the field. He separates on abrupt breaking routes. He finishes on the football in difficult situations. He's a complete player, and he's played in the slot. He'll have an opportunity to do that for us here, and as I mentioned before, we'll mix and match those guys, and that's the fun part. We'll create mismatches, and he'll be a good player for us.
How much of your comfort in bringing a guy with Jermaine that has some off-the-field questions is that with you have T. Higgins and Jamar and their
Yeah.
professionalism, you know that, regardless of what happened, he's going to have two players that are going to show him how to be a pro.
Yeah, I think we've got a really good setup for any of these guys coming from college that need a chance to see how a pro handles himself and what they do, and that's why we built it the way we can. Again, I have high expectations for these guys we just drafted to come in and be a pro immediately, but I've also got so much respect for Troy Walters, and like you mentioned, I mean, I could go through, as I think in my head, every receiver in that room is going to impact guys the right way and affect them in a very positive way. I think that's pretty rare to be able to say that, but I can go from top to bottom. It's turned into one of the deepest receiver rooms in the league, with talent and with character, and so I'm excited about that group.
So I'm sure where Jackson was on your board probably was a big part of picking him, but when you look at just positions of need, why was another nose tackle, really a true nose tackle option, such an important spot, corner, defensive end, et cetera?
Yeah, I'll start with that. I don't think you ever go wrong adding to your defensive line. As a head coach, as an offensive play caller that faces these guys every week, and you have to prepare for them. Depth at defensive tackle, defensive end is critical. And if you don't have it, if all of a sudden you come up short, it doesn't matter what's going on behind it. So I think that's the number one thing to take the pressure off the back seven is to continue to add to your defensive line. And we had the opportunity to do that today, and makes me sleep a lot better at night.
Some years, obviously, you have more developmental players that you draft, that you bring in. First 2 rounds, these 4 players, how do you assess their potential for coming in and contributing right away?
Yeah, they all have the potential to do that. They all have to compete. They're not leapfrogging anybody. So again, I feel really good about the position groups we're adding them to, and the guys in those rooms are going to fight like crazy, and we've got guys who are starters in those rooms, and guys who we've drafted and developed that are still going to compete to beat these guys out. And so I think it's going to be tremendous competition for us, and that's the best way to build your team is through competitiveness at the position.
How do you feel about your corner depth? Obviously, you double-dipped in defensive tackle, but this position, just looking at the numbers, would be something you guys add on day 3?
Yeah, I think we'll look into everything. I think I feel good about it right now. We've got multiple picks tomorrow, so we'll see where it all shakes out. But excited about what we've done so far, for sure.
Jackson, I think, is a 2-time captain. You get Jenkins as a captain. What do you think of Jackson's intangibles?
Yeah, like you said, anytime you're getting these guys that come from major universities with and their teammates pick them as as a leader, it says a lot about them. So it's just another piece to the puzzle, and we're glad that we're able to get both those guys, and they're both, as you mentioned, captains.
Zach, late Nick on the ABC broadcast, Nick Saban looked pretty enthused about the Burton pick. Did you get a chance to talk to Nick at all with Jermaine?
I didn't. No, I did not talk to Coach Saban. No, Tommy works for Cleveland. Yeah, I don't think he was going to give me great insight.
Anything else? Great, thank you.
Thank you.